systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Talking some hoops with my man Rio. Ben's in here. Sean's in here. Mark's in here. Parabai's in here. Crazy day already in the association. We're down to 8 games. 8-game slate on a Wednesday. Big 8-8-8 out there. Very fun if you're in that. I am not today, Rio. I'll ask if you are in a sec. But if you're out there, good luck in that. Good luck in the streets. 8 games, though. I'm excited for it. Siakam. And obviously condolences to the Warriors assistant coach. That game is postponed. 8 games. Rio, throw it to you. How are you doing on this Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just put up the slate plan. Had a good time writing up all my matchup stuff for this slate. But, yeah, definitely interesting slate. Also, yeah, condolences to the assistant head coach for the Warriors. Just a freak accident. But all that aside, yeah, we just got the Siakam news that he was traded this morning. So we'll definitely try to break that down to the best of our ability, get a better idea of how it's going to go with the rotations with him out of the lineup now.
Yeah, I'll get to you in like the broad slate overview because obviously some of these Raptors are going to be important. Man, yeah, you know it's a little cold. Title has a hood up. I was outside cranking some push-ups, enjoying the fresh air. It is chilly in Arizona, though. It ain't Wisconsin chilly, of course, so I'm not going to complain. But it is a little chilly up here. Yeah, appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Like button, we always appreciate it. And if you do want to join us at SHIPITNation.com, no better time to get in. Golf tomorrow morning, MMA, big pay-per-view this weekend. Going to get your thoughts on that in a sec because, man, I'm still going back and forth kind of on this main event. Very exciting. Of course, NFL playoffs, NBA going on. No better time to get in. Weekly, monthly, 6-month, and annual. Use that code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any package. Rio, I'm going to get your broad slate overview. First, though, you got to give me your prediction on the main event this weekend.
Yeah, I think we got actually the overlay might have got a little messed up here.
Yeah, I know. I'm fixing it right now. I'm fixing it.
Yeah, I think I got Strickland. I think he's going to come in pretty motivated. I do think. I mean, Drinkus he's a beast, just crazy knockout artist, got a ton of power. But I think Strickland's going to be able to pick him apart just with the uniqueness of his style. I think he's got it.
I like it. Now, any broad slate overview, talking NBA, we'll go game by game in a second. But obviously these Raptors, looking at like the most chalky plays on the slate, Joe Ingles is definitely going to be mega chalk, 3.5K. People are going to use him, I think, for some value. These Raptors, Schroeder, Barrett, quickly, I think, gets some without Siakam. It definitely looks like a mid-tier build without many. I think AD is as high as people will go. What are your thoughts, like balance, stars and scrubs, just initial broad slate overview on this 8-gamer?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways that can go because I think there's a couple of really strong spin-up options tonight. Pretty much everybody, Donovan Mitchell and above, has a case for a really high ceiling tonight. But obviously the pricing with DraftKings has been a little bit tougher with the value being, a lot tighter. You have to kind of build around the mid-tier a little bit. But there are some pretty good plays in the mid-tier as well. So I think that it really can go either way. Obviously, we don't really have a ton of value right now. I got a little bit from the Toronto side, but yeah, you have to get a little creative if you want to get up to the Giannis and Luka AD type plays tonight. But I think we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of Q tags like always. So news could break that way. Right now, if the slate started, though, I think AD would be as high, as people go, and mid-tier would be pretty popular. What's going on, Jasmine? Hope everything's well. JB Knox in here. 32 here in Maine, shorts weather. Hey, love to see that. Definitely 32 this time of year. Definitely can get away with some shorts. All right, let's go game by game again. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Hope you're having a good day. Like button, always appreciated. Minnesota Timberwolves, Detroit Pistons, 222 total. Minnesota favored by 12. Low total, big spread. Ant is questionable. We will get this news before lock with the knee. And then on the Detroit side, obviously, Cade's still out. Gallo, Muscala questionable, means nothing on the slate. I'll throw it right to you. I don't have much interest in this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons pretty much a full fade. I think it's pretty easy. I think that those guys that they just got over from the trade are available to play tonight, so that's just going to make the rotation even more confusing than it already has been. So I think you can kind of just X out the Pistons and move on. But there are a few – I mean, really the big three for Minnesota are interesting to me. If Anthony Edwards is in 8.3K, this is probably one of the easiest matchups that he'll face all year long. Just the Pistons provide no rim defense at all, so I think that he would be in a really good spot. 8.3K is a really solid price tag for him. If he's out, Karl-Anthony Towns 7.7K. We'll see a ton of usage. It's a tough matchup actually versus Isaiah Stewart. The Pistons are one of the top teams in DVP in terms of DraftKings scorings versus power forward. So a little bit of a tougher on paper matchup, but if Anthony Edwards is out, he'll definitely see more usage. And I like the spot for Rudy Gobert too, 7.1K. He's been rolling lately, 46 plus DK points in 3 straight games. It's a solid matchup versus Jalen Duren. Duren's a pretty okay interior defender, but the Pistons are giving up a ton of blocks and steals to the center position this year. So I think that Rudy Gobert could find a little bit of a ceiling from blocks and steals perspective. But really just those 3 guys is what I'm looking to on the Wolves side.
Would you make a max 1? And that, if Ant's out, yeah, Towns would probably be popular. Gobert would probably be a little popular. Assuming Ant's in, would you make a max 1 rule? Be fine with 2? Because I think they're all fine. I don't know. I'll get your thoughts on that. I think 2 is probably fine.
You could probably get away with 2. I think that I would probably just want to be max 1. Just it's a big slate, and there are some really good games later in the night. I wouldn't want to lock up too many spots early in the night when there's some, maybe some weird stuff happens and we get some value later on. I wouldn't want to lock up too many positions.
Yeah, good call there for sure. What's going on, Jake? What's going on, Jordan? And yes, we're going to get to the Raptors. Siakam got traded. He is not playing FL Knicks. So Miami Heat, Toronto Raptors, 226 total. Miami is favored by 3.5. Miami side, Jaquez and Kevin Love are out. Toronto side, Siakam got traded to Indy. Jakob Poeltl's still out. Gary Trent is questionable. I think this is an interesting spot. I don't think it's like right away you think, all right, Siakam out, slam all the Raptors. With how big this slate is and what their pricing's at, I don't think that's the case. I think Quickly's a good play. Barrett's a good play. I think the Trent news is pretty important as well. I'll throw it right to you. Talk about Toronto side to start. And then Miami's, without Jaquez, I guess, a little boost to some of these guys, but more so the Toronto side I'm interested in. Talk about it.
Yeah, so with the Siakam trade, that will likely bring Dennis Schroeder into the starting lineup. I was thinking / hoping it would be Chris Boucher. Obviously, he's always been a really solid fantasy point per minute producer, but I think he'll continue to come off the bench. He doesn't really project well, but I think he is someone that will definitely see a bigger minute ceiling with the Siakam trade. But yeah, they'll probably just end up giving, Barnes, Quickly, Barrett, Schroeder, all the minutes that they can handle, and then just kind of having their 3-headed monster at center with Porter, Thad Young, and Boucher all kind of mixing in. But yeah, I think the biggest winner in the trade is definitely Dennis Schroeder. He'll probably end up taking on more of the ball handling role now and shift quickly to the 2 spot just because Schroeder is more of an on-ball guy. He doesn't really play that well off-ball, so I think that 5.5K, he comes into play. And really, it's just an okay matchup versus Miami. These 2 teams kind of play pretty slow defensively. But it is worth mentioning the Raptors' defense has been really bad since they traded OG Anunoby. They played 9 games post OG Anunoby, and they're bottom 4 defensive rating, bottom 10 rim defense, and bottom 2 in 3-point defense. So I think that guys like Tyler Hero makes a ton of sense as a 3-point shooter. But yeah, you can get away with playing all of the guys in the big 3 for Miami. I think I prefer Hero the best just for the matchup. But I don't love any of them particularly. I like the guys on the Toronto side much more, mainly RJ Barrett. This is a really good matchup for him. I think he has a really big upside case at 6.6K. The Heat are pretty bad versus for on or off ball shooters. So I think this could be a pretty big spot for Barrett. He's taken 13 plus shots in 4 out of the last 5 games and scored 23 plus in 4 of those games. The DK scoring has been pretty solid too. So I think that he has some pretty. I thought it was sneaky, but he's looking at a ton of ownership now. But I think he's my favorite play in this game.
I like it. Yeah, I think all these Schroeder's definitely going to be the most popular in this game. Barrett's going to get some quickly. I think Scotty probably comes in 4th. They're all solid plays, though. I like your Tyler Hero shout, just talking matchup stuff. If you're playing multiple Raptors, pretty close spread is an 8-game slate. But, I mean, if you stack this game a little bit, it'll be pretty contrarian. So I don't mind that. Would you make any rules with these Raptors, like Quickly, Barrett, Scotty, Schroeder? You probably don't want to play all 4. Tell me if I'm wrong, but any rule like that, you group away.
I think you'd probably want to be max 2 of 3 of quickly Barrett Schroeder, and I think that Scotty Barnes is kind of fine just floating around because he can get it done in multiple ways. I would expect him to take on more usage with Siakam out, but I mean it's been his role has been really diminished since Quickly and Barrett have entered that starting lineup. So I don't really I'm not too excited about Scotty, but theoretically he should be a much better play now.
I like this shout too, Jake. If I played anyone on Miami, it's Jimmy or Hero. Jimmy comes back, he plays 40 minutes. He shot the ball really well, 16 free throw attempts. But if he played 40 minutes, I don't know, 7.8K on D, pretty low ownership. You prefer Hero though? So they're both the same price.
Yeah, I just think that Hero slightly has better upside in this type of matchup, but I think Butler's totally fine. He's kind of reminds me of like the DeMar DeRozan type play where he's a really solid catch game play. But it is kind of crazy. I saw a stat about players that get most of their points from free throw shooting, and Jimmy Butler is like second in the league, which is kind of crazy because I don't think that he gets that same type of hate that like Embiid and Trey Young get.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I didn't know that. That's a lot of free throws. Hey, good for him though. Got to work with what you got. Hero with Butler. I would max one of these Heat guys, and I'd probably bump them more if I was playing like 2 of these Raptors or more. That's how I kind of approach this. But they're all good plays. Schroeder, Scotty, Barrett, Quickly, all good plays. We'll keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. So yeah, there was only one game, that Minnesota-Detroit game. We didn't have much interest that locked at 7 Eastern, and then we have multiple 7:30 Eastern games. So if some of that news doesn't break, that's part of the reason not to jam that first game. Keep it rolling. Next game, Orlando Magic, Atlanta Hawks, 229 total. Hawks favored by 4. No injury news on the Hawks side as far as Orlando. Franz and Gary Harris are out. Not a game that'll get much ownership. I think Paulo is obviously the only play. He'll get some ownership at 8.8K. How does he rank amongst the studs? He fits kind of that mid-tier build right now with that lack of value. Joe Ingles, too. Talk about him, too. He's projecting very well I shouldn't say he's projecting very well. On the nature of the slate without much value, 3.5K, I'm seeing him be pretty popular. So touch on him, touch on Paulo, and anything else in this one. Goga as well.
Yeah, I didn't even realize how popular Joe Ingles was looking, but I'm seeing like almost 60%. I think anytime you get like a low usage forward, you want to kind of just try to build away from it. So that's kind of how I would approach that value. So I think that there's plenty of mid-range plays that we don't really have to dumpster dive all the way down to a Joe Ingles type play.
And I will say, and any Q tag that like gets ruled out, if any of these big Q tags get ruled out, like that's where the Ingles play ownership gets cut, like in a fifth, if like some other better value opens up. So that's why, like right now, if the slate locked, if all these Q tags are in, he will be popular just because what he makes work. But as Rio said, that's probably the easiest fade in tournaments. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. When I'm surprised to see Atlanta's favored in this game. Atlanta's just been really just terrible defensively all year long. They're bottom 4 defensive rating on the season, bottom 2 rim defense, bottom 7 3-point defense, and bottom 3 in transition defense. And the Magic have been one of the better defensive teams. They're top 3 in defensive rating. So I was pretty surprised to see Atlanta was favored in this one. But yeah, this matchup is really good for Paulo. Going to be able to get to the rim at ease in this one. Just the Hawks provide no interior defense at all. They're terrible transition defense. So I think that Paulo is in a really good spot here. He's up to 14 drives per game on the year. And since Franz Wagner has missed a bunch of games, he's seen a really big uptick in the touch time usage and assist percentage numbers. So I think that he's in a really good spot here. Going to see Jalen Johnson a lot of the game on defense. And as much as I like Jalen Johnson as a player, just not a really good defender at this point in his career. So I think that Paulo's in a pretty big spot here. And everything else on the Magic side, I'm not too excited about. The centers are projecting pretty well. Goga Bitadze is projecting well, but their coach said that they're going to be mixing up the starting lineup a bunch going forward. So you don't really know who's guaranteed the minutes. We know that Paulo, Suggs, Cole Anthony are going to see their normal minutes, but all these secondary guys, it could fluctuate on a day-by-day basis, which is another good reason why you can get away from Joe Ingles, because not guaranteed to see 20 minutes here. And then on the Atlanta side, I'm usually not on the Trey Young side of things, but this is actually a pretty good swap for him. The Magic are bottom 5 in pick and roll defense, and Trey is the league's best pick and roll scorer this season. So I think that this is a sneaky big spot for Trey here. He had a bounce back game after a string of awful games. Last time out, he went it for 36, 6, and 13 for 70 DK points. Obviously, a softer matchup versus San Antonio, but this is a pretty good spot for Trey, and I have a little bit of interest in him. And I think that Jalen Johnson is probably the only other guy that I would consider, but 7.3K in a pace down spot, not really where I'm looking to play Jalen Johnson. I want him more in the pace up spots, like against the Pacers or the Wizards type of games.
I love that Trey shout. He's going to be so super low on right between D. Mitch and Anthony Davis. Paulo, Trey Young right there in a mid-tier build. I really like how that stacks up. And outside of Paulo, that game's going to be really low on. I like Paulo too. Good stats there about his drives and stuff like that. So I thought it was just Paulo or bust. I think the Ingles fade's pretty easy in cash games right now. Like he's going to be on the cash report. That very well might change. Everything is updated in yellow throughout the night. If I make a change or something, always refresh on it. Projections are updated. Ownership is as well. So if you want to join, SHIPIT.com, nothing cheaper. MMA, golf. There is a golf-only package. You guys are watching this stream, NBA, so I assume you want other sports. Golf going on tomorrow, MMA this week, NBA, NHL's going. Shout out to Nades. So much going on. A lot of money to be made this week. So SHIPITNation.com, then use that promo code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any membership, weekly, monthly, 6-month, or annual. Let's get back to it, Rio. Next game on the slate. Again, not much ownership I see in this one. If anything, the studs. Bucks, Cavaliers, 236 total. Bucks favored by 4. Nothing on the Bucks side for the injury report. For Cleveland, though, Karis LeVert questionable. Garland, Mobley still out. Again, I think like that's kind of what your point to your Trey, or with Trey Young, and my point to it was D. Mitch is going to be pretty popular, I think, at 9.6. AD is going to be, I think, relatively popular at 10K. You get him at relatively no ownership. Talk about him, though. D. Mitch, that is, like, compare him to Apollo. And then Giannis on the other side, he can absolutely nuke, but right now, 11K, there's so many guys in that mid-tier to upper tier we're talking about. I don't think I'm really going to go up there personally, but you can't make a case against them. Then talk about Lillard, Allen, and if LeVert News does anything.
Yeah, so in terms of Mitchell versus the guys in the previous game, definitely prefer Mitchell. This is just a spot that we've been attacking all year long with the Milwaukee guards defense just being terrible. They're going to put Malik Beasley on him. They trust Malik Beasley to play a lot of minutes and to play on-ball defense, and that's just not going to be good for this matchup. The Bucks are dead last in pick and roll defense on the year, and Donovan Mitchell is 9th overall in points off of pick and roll this season. So this is a really big spot for him. He should go off here. Almost 10K though. It's a little bit expensive for him when you think about how he plays. Just he really needs, kind of similar to Shea in some ways. He could definitely have a spike in assist totals from game to game, but he's really score independent. Could definitely go off for 40 plus points in this matchup. It's a great matchup, but yeah, I definitely like him a lot here. And then, yeah, like matchup wise, kind of a tough matchup for Giannis. Going to be seeing Jared Allen on defense most of the game, which obviously is going to make things difficult for him. Jared Allen, one of the better interior defenders. Cavs defense has been great all year long. Top 6 rim defense, top 9 3-point defense, top 3 in pick and roll defense as well. Top 10 transition defense. So really all the ways that the Bucks like to play, they limit. So I mean, obviously Giannis is matchup proof. He can get it going in any matchup, but I think at 11K, I'll just take my chances and try to build in the mid tier a little bit. I really don't like this matchup for Damian Lillard either. He's played much better. He got out of the shooting slump, scored 27 and 29 in back-to-back games. But the Cavaliers are literally the best team in pick and roll defense, and that's where Dame is going to get most of his offensive going. So I think that he's a fade at 8.6K. I like Jared Allen in this spot too. He's been awesome since the Darius Garland, Evan Mobley injury. He's seen the tick up in his touches and usage. Playmaking has been there much more. Has seen uptick in his assist numbers. And last time he faced off against Milwaukee, had his best game of the season, went for 30, 12, and 6 in 40 minutes for 60 DK points. So I think that if he can stay out of foul trouble, since he's going to be guarding Giannis, he has a really big upside here at 8.1K, and I like him a lot. Not really looking to get to like Middleton or Brook Lopez. I think that they're kind of just okay as like last man in type things, but not really looking to get there. I think that Malik Beasley has a little bit more upside than the industry will be projecting for him. he's going to see Donovan Mitchell on defense, and Mitchell is probably the Cavaliers' weakest guard or weakest defender. Been seeing more minutes. He got up to 45 minutes last game, so I think that he's okay. Probably the second best play on the Bucks side of things, but yeah, much more interest on the Cavaliers side of this game.
Yeah, I like Jared Allen as well. Jordan like Jared Allen too. D-Mitch, I do like I said, I think we're on the same page. Probably not getting up to Giannis unless some of this value opens up. Andrew, I'll get to your point in a sec about Isaac. I do want to talk about him. But I guess on the point about injuries, any of these Q tags, Brunson, Luka, LeBron, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Ant, any of those that you think are very well or like 50-50 or that one of them could miss, or do you expect all of them to play?
You read the list again one more time.
Luka, Brunson, LeBron, Drew, Porzingis, Ant.
So I think there's a good chance pretty much all of them are in. I think that Ant is probably the most likely to sit just with this being an Eastern Conference matchup versus a terrible team, and they're on a back-to-back. But I do think that there's a chance that one or two of the guys from Boston sit. Just they're obviously looking to get guys days off, kind of stagger them. So I think that there's a chance that like Porzingis and White could sit or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to get to that game, 16-point favorites. And then we'll talk about Isaac in a sec because I want to bring that up. 4-point spread, Bucks Cavs, though. Do you have any lean there? We're not betting all the time, but any thoughts?
I'm in California, so I don't really dabble in betting that much, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe it's I can dabble, and it's a tough market out there. I try and pick my spots. I stick to what I feel comfortable, and that's DFS. And then so on the Orlando side, Ingles, we missed it. Jonathan Isaac, I said I put him in the same boat as Joe Ingles. Like if value opens up, his ownership will go down, but his minutes aren't secure. Everything you said I think is pretty accurate, but he is getting ownership, so I do want to bring that up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, same thoughts as you. Would definitely look to get away from it. They're being very cautious with him and his minutes, just with the injury history of Jonathan Isaac. I think that he's a pretty big piece of their long-term future, so I don't think that they're really going to be extending him anytime soon.
He is a beast, though, most definitely.
Great defender.
And then is matchup good for any three-point shooters on the Cavs? That's a real
so the Bucks have actually been much better for against the three-point shooters this year. They're actually worse with their rim defense. I have the numbers here if you give me 1 second. They're bottom 11 in rim defense, and they are top 8 in three-point defense.
Good stuff, Rio. Good stuff, my man. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Big spread. San Antonio Spurs, Boston Celtics. 238 total. Boston favored by 16. This is when we're talking Boston side. Drew questionable. Porzingis questionable. White questionable. They're going to mop these Spurs that can take a day off. I think that makes a lot of sense. 7:30 Eastern game, so hopefully we get it before 7 Eastern, but that's another reason Minnesota, Detroit, the pieces will be relatively low owned. We don't think you should jam it. Spurs side, Zach Collins is out. Nothing after that. Easiest fade on the slate for me, 8-game slate. Make it a 7-game slate. Do you see it any? Actually, I guess you talk about the injuries. Like, if 2 of these guys are out, would you play Tatum? Would you play Brown, etc.? If all of them in, I think you can agree, or you're on the same page that you probably would just completely fade this game. But if not, who are some of your favorites? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think a little bit more interest in this game than you do. Obviously from the Celtics side, I really like the spot for Jaylen Brown here. Obviously the matchup is great versus Spurs. They're terrible defense, but when you talk about just the price gap between Tatum and Jaylen Brown being $1,500, kind of similar to like Trey Young and DeJounte Murray, I will definitely side with Jaylen Brown. I think this is kind of the matchup that he could thrive in. The Spurs are a struggling transition defense, and statistically speaking, Jaylen Brown is the best transition scorer in the league. So I think that he's kind of due for an eruption spot here. This team's also 4th worst in DVP to shooting guards. So I think that he's got a good amount of upside at 8K. Obviously would definitely be better if multiple of these Celtics miss, but I think even if they were all to be in, I think he's got a good amount of upside. He's projecting as a pretty positive value right now in our projections. But yeah, I don't think that this is not the game. Obviously, great matchup for Tatum, but big spread. I could see him kind of deferring a little bit to the secondary guys. I think Drew Holiday makes some sense too. 6.1K, really, really cheap for him. Great matchup. Spurs bottom 3 DVP point guards this season, so he's in a good spot. Yeah, really tough to break down though if you don't really know the injury stuff. I think that if 2 of these guys were to miss, like if Porzingis and White were to miss, Drew Holiday would be great. Jaylen Brown would be great. If all of them are in, then really just Jaylen Brown for me. Slightly more interested in Drew Holiday than like Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis, but those would be the main guys I would look to on the Celtics side. And then obviously Wemby is always going to make your player pool. He's got the 60-point upside in limited minutes. Got up to 27 minutes last game versus Atlanta, albeit that was a way softer matchup. Celtics, one of the best interior defenses in the league, but he can get there in so many different ways that he's always in play to go off regardless of matchup.
For sure. Yeah, if all these guys were somehow in, I would definitely not have interest in it. Like Jaylen Brown, I guess you like him, so that means I have some interest. I just prefer like Scotty for 100 more, Jared Allen for 200 more. Obviously, the position's somewhat different, but if 2 of these guys are ruled out, I can see myself getting maybe Jaylen Brown. Tatum, still probably not with like 10-2, who he's loaded around. I like LeBron probably more. Paulo definitely more for cheaper. I like your Trey calling tournaments more, so I don't think probably Tatum for me. I like the Jaylen Brown more so. I am not in the 888 tonight. Did not win a seat. Rio, did you or are you in the 888?
Not playing the 888 tonight. Haven't really been chasing these satellites as much lately. Yes, I won't be in there. Did actually kind of skipped over Peyton Pritchard. I think that he makes a ton of sense too as a value option. Obviously, much more so if any one of these starters would have missed, mainly Derek White or Drew Holiday, he would get a bigger bump. But he's been a guy that can just absolutely break the slate in garbage time. And with this being a 16-point spread, I would take him any day of the week over any of these Orlando values.
Love it. Love it. They'll definitely be lower owned, at least as of now. If these guys are rolled out, though, that probably will change. A couple more games left. Projections finally right. There we go. Boomer got the projections up. Head over to ShipItNation.com, FanDuel, and DraftKings. Again, use that promo code Mayo. Let's keep it going. Next game on the slate, Houston Rockets, New York Knicks, 221 total. Knicks favored by 6. Houston side, Tari Eason still out. Knicks side, Jalen Brunson questionable. Josh Hart questionable as well. In terms of ownership in this game, don't think we see too much ownership. I think Sengun at 7.9K, he's definitely going to be one of the most popular centers. Again, another good 2-center night. Outside of him, though, I don't think Brunson and Randall get too much. I don't know. Unless Brunson's out, what you think he's going to be in, I think it's pretty much a Sengun or buzz for ownership. What do you see in it?
Yeah, this is a pretty easy game to X out, I think. I really don't even like the spot for Sengun as much. Knicks defense has really held up. They've been one of the better defenses since OG Anunoby got traded. I think they're second best overall defense in the last 9 games since they got OG. So they've been really just rolling defensively. Obviously, both these teams play really slow and pace, so there's not going to be a ton of scoring. The Knicks take away what Sengun does best, which is like rebounding and offensive rebounding, stuff like that. Hartenstein has been a really solid defender for them. So I just don't really think that this is the spot. And he's coming in with a good amount of ownership. I would look elsewhere personally. I think the only guy that I really have interest in this game, and it's not a ton of interest, so I'm not saying that he's a great play by any means, but Jabari Smith probably sees the best matchup. I don't know if you saw the clip of Julius Randle last game against the Magic, but he just completely gave up. Yeah, just gave up on defense. Was just pointing at guys and turned his back to his defender. It was a bad look. So I don't know if it was, exhaustion or his ankle. Somebody said it was an ankle injury that he's been dealing with, but he's been tweaking. He just shows no effort on defense. I think that could bode well for a guy like Jabari Smith Jr. So he's really the only guy. I don't like this matchup for any of these Knicks particularly.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not much interest in this game, and you don't like Sengun. He'll be pretty popular. I'll get to another game I don't have interest in. Hornets, Pelicans, 229 total. Pelicans favored by 11.5. Injury report-wise, nothing Pelican side. Brandon Miller, questionable for Charlotte. Gordon Hayward out. Mark Williams still out. I don't have interest in this game. Again, got to cross some off on a bigger slate. Tell me if I'm wrong on any play.
No, I think you're right. I think that the only person in this game that would make my player pool is Zion. 7.6K, good matchup for interior scorers, but little to no interest in this game as well.
Let's keep it rolling. Couple games left. Actually, last game, again, 8-game slate. So last game of the slate. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Is that right, Rio? I mean, man, has this show gone that fast?
Yeah, I guess apparently it has. I'm looking at the slate, seeing if we missed any games, but
Yeah, all right. I was making sure. If anyone's got some questions or want to drop something in, well, I mean, we can answer some too. But hey,
we can always circle back to the Raptors game too after we finish this one, or just like look at the projection, see if anything has changed as much.
That sounds good. We'll do that. Yeah, any questions or something, but we're not going to waste your time. We'll talk hoops. Want to have some fun too? We can talk, but let's get going. Last game, Dallas Mavericks, Los Angeles Lakers, 243 total. Big boy. Lakers are favored by 4. Injury report in this one, Dallas. Luka is questionable. Josh Green is out. Lakers side, LeBron questionable. Cam Reddish out. I think LeBron, again, we're assuming LeBron plays. We're assuming Luka plays. I think AD is popular. I think D'Angelo Russell is popular at 6K. So start with them. But Bron's still sub 10K. Luka's kind of in that Giannis boat for me. I mean, he could absolutely nuke. But what number do you wish you played him? 75? What are your thoughts to that right now with how the value stands? We'll break down this one.
In terms of what you want from him at this price?
Yeah, if you didn't play him and he put up 70, are you I'm dead with, not necessarily dead, but you think he's probably going to be on the winner. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I really don't think that 70 is guaranteed the winner, because I think we've seen multiple times this year where a guy like Giannis gets 70, and if the value plays aren't hitting like they are projected ownership wise, then you can make up those points for sure with 2 mid-tier guys, which is kind of what we've seen more this year, just with the pricing being a lot tighter, with DraftKings kind of picking up on these value plays. So you kind of forced to play a mid-tier build a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, I do love the spot for Luka here. Good price tag under 11K, which we haven't seen him sub 11K for a good while. He's been crushing it this year when he does play. This is a good matchup for him as well. Lakers defense obviously struggles to opposing point guards, just guard on-ball defenders. They're pretty weak in. Great matchup for 3-point shooters as well. They're dead last in threes allowed per game. Interior defense has been good with Anthony Davis down there, top 8 rim defense, but they're bottom 4 in transition defense. I also think that with the way that the Lakers like to play defense in terms of their pick and roll coverage, they play a lot of drop coverage with Anthony Davis, so that could open up a good amount of 3-point looks for Luka. But there have been a few times this year where they go up against a certain star like Tyrese Halliburton. They did it. Devin Booker, they did it, where they run a lot of double teams at them. So that could open up more scoring opportunities for guys like Kyrie, for guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. as long as he's out there. Obviously, I don't think you're really playing Tim Hardaway at 6.4K, but Kyrie still makes sense, 9.3K, even if Luka were to be in. I'm going to see the easier matchup of the two. I think Luka would have Taurean Prince on him, which he's a solid defender. Kyrie probably sees Austin Reeves or Jared Vanderbilt. So I think that, Kyrie makes some sense, even if Luka were to be in. Obviously, huge boost if Luka is out. We won't really get that news. This is the latest game on the slate now with the Warriors and Utah game done. But, good matchup for both these guys. And, on the Lakers side, love the spot for Anthony Davis. He's been playing really well lately. Had a couple down games in terms of scoring, but he's seen some more playmaking. He had a triple-double 2 games ago, 5 assists last game. Should have no issues against Derek Lively tonight. Has not been the best interior defender, so I think that AD's in a pretty big spot. 10K, very reasonable price tag for him. Most likely going to get a ton of ownership at that price, but I much prefer him to LeBron for only $300 more. And I would love to get your take on these guards, because they've been playing Reeves and D'Angelo Russell a good bit alongside each other now. So it normally was a max 1 situation earlier in the season when they were splitting the minutes, but the Lakers have been running much tighter with them kind of slipping in the standings. They need to win some games, so they're running a much tighter rotation. I think I sided with D'Angelo Russell, cheaper, projects better, does have a chance to lose minutes if they were to go more defensive minded with obviously Luka and Kyrie out there, but I think the matchup is pretty good for D'Lo. He'll see Kyrie Irving on defense, which Kyrie's not that good of a defender, so I think that D'Lo has been playing much better lately, and he's got some pretty good upside at 6K.
Definitely on your side with D'Lo. Reeves has been, he's been efficient, like low 30s minutes, but 17, 15, 16% usage, 30, 27, 24. I definitely prefer D'Lo. He's going to be more popular, but I think he's totally a solid play, and I'd much prefer AD to LeBron too. Again, that's where ownership goes in this game. You can maybe mix in a Trey Young. If you're fading Orlando stuff, like Orlando and some of these guys will probably be a popular pairing right now. Again, if any Q tag does change, and we expect probably Celtics, I'm assuming at least one of those guys sits, which maybe change stuff around a little bit. But yeah, AD, D-Russ, Luka. I do prefer Luka to Giannis if I had to pick. Do you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's obviously close. Like, these guys are superstars. We'd be lying if we were very confident. I'm not putting my house on that by any means or something, but I would pick Luka.
Yeah. Did want to mention this. I forgot to mention Christian Wood. Yeah, he's been playing well lately, coming off the bench. They are with Cam Reddish out, that kind of has benefited him more. He's, the minutes have been up and down. Saw 14 minutes last game, still put up 27 DK points. I've been listing him in the slate plan pretty much every day now, just knowing that the Lakers are running a tighter rotation. So I think that he makes sense as a value for sure. I prefer him at much less ownership than all of these Magic guys. Obviously cheaper, different positional stuff, but I would much rather find the money to get to Christian Wood.
Yep. He'll be very, very low on, but that's value's tough. People are going Orlando. That's some other pivots that Rio gave you. That is all 8 games. I'm going to scroll down some people in chat, and we can wrap it up after that. It was quick. If anyone has questions, start dropping them. Conscious, what's going on? Seeing here a lot. Hope everything going well. Goes fast when both of you say you do not have interest in almost every game. Hey, we make this slate, try and make it easy for you. We're not going to give you all the, if we don't like someone, we're not going to say we like them. If we like other people more, we want to tell you how it is. You got to make decisions in DFS. So yeah, we don't want to waste your time. If we don't like a game, we like others more, we'll let you know that. What's up going on, Shud Sullivan? Who won the Siakam trade? I'll throw it to the expert Rio on that, who he thinks.
Pacers for sure. Bruce Brown is a really solid, just like secondary piece, but Siakam. I'm not the biggest fan of Siakam, but obviously I'm not an NBA executive, and he was garnering a ton of attention for good reason. So I think he definitely makes that team a lot better and much more of a contender in the East. And they're already playing really well. When they get Haliburton back, that'll be pretty fun to see from a two-man perspective with Pascal and Tyrese Haliburton. I think they could be pretty good together.
Yeah. No, I think Tyrese needed another guy. I'm on your side, though. I don't think Siakam's I don't know. He's definitely a tier below. We're just talking superstars. But Bruce Brown, couple first rounds, are these first rounders going to be better than Siakam? I'll take the known and Siakam are winning now. So I agree with you there. But I don't think it was maybe awful. Do you like anything for tiers? I would recommend using the projections that we have for tiers. And then also, if there's close plays, look at the slate plan breakdowns there. But definitely check out the projections. The glasses make me look even younger. Hey, I'm trying the blue light glasses behind the screen way too much, especially this time of year. So trying to wear them a little more, and I can definitely see how I look younger. Probably 18 years old. That is totally fine. Do I need to send you a Quick Trip poster? Can that go with the Culvers? Man, Quick Trip would look pretty good right there. Bucky's would too, but I think that's it for right now. I appreciate that. Reese has been awful. Who gets traded next? Any trades you think, Rio, that you see on the horizon?
Yeah, Levine got to be out there, but yeah, I do agree with Boomer. Contract is pretty tough to move. I think DeJounte Murray, he's got to be a pretty big trade target. I'd be interested to see where he goes. Lakers makes a ton of sense if they could package something over there. It doesn't seem like the market is very big for DeJounte Murray. I was seeing a player and a first round pick, and that's it for him. I thought that he's worth a little bit more. Really solid on ball defender, can get it done in multiple ways. I think that DeJounte deserves to be on a team where he can be running the point again. Been rough to see him just kind of shift over to the shooting guard role. I think he's much better as a point guard.
Man, him with Wemby. I know it's not going to happen. Obviously, they probably don't get Wemby if they keep DeJounte, but that would have been fun, man. That'd be fun.
I saw Trey Young, a report came out from his camp saying that he would like to play there or play with him.
It's like, no shit, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play with him. Yeah, of course. Lob it up to him or shoot a three.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be pretty good for the longevity of Trey Young's career, because I don't think that right now, with him just being like an alpha on a team like the Hawks, that they're really going to be able to go anywhere with that. I think that pairing him with a player like that who can take over the game and kind of Trey can defer a little bit makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I mean, he 100% knows. Like, you can't be 5'10" and run the league anymore. He gets Wemby, he changed everything. Helps his game, helps everything. He definitely knows. Thanks, Evan. Hey, thank you, man. We appreciate it. Levine to LA, Sean says. That's it, though. Any final thoughts, Rio? Oh, there you go. I missed that.
Shout out
Good
to
call.
David. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching, man. Definitely appreciate that. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, I missed that. Good call, Rio. Appreciate that, David. I saw it. Made me feel good. Made me smile on the inside, and I forgot to mention it. So check out the golf content, MMA this week, NBA, NFL, huge sports weekend. Make sure to use that promo code MAYO. You can try us out for a week, month, 6 month, annual. Head over to SHIPIT Nation, get the prices, 10% off. Mayo does get you. Projections are updated. They'll be updated throughout the night. Cash report, GPP core report, everything. Rio, good talking as always. Let's make some money, baby. Let's make some money today. Someone at SHIPIT, win that 888. It's your turn, Pensac. You almost had it last time. I'm feeling you today, buddy. Good luck, everybody.